Hello everyone, welcome to the next session of Drawing in Design and Architecture, and this time I'll choose yet another form, but this time we're going to try also to draw a little bit in two vanishing point and starting with three vanishing point perspective, the same geometric forms first. And so let's go. I share the screen with you and right away we go there. So we have this kind of form. I chose it, yeah. So it's again, the composition is from two kind of square sides prisms, yes, which are kind of to which are integrated kind of, cutted rectangular squares, and of course you have the cylinders there, kind of like additions to these two kind of prisms with the square sides. So again, for example, convergence is here, another convergence, let's say the basis in the corner is there, and I have the corner of the perspective on this corner. So I approximately know how to work with those. The good thing is that for this kind of practice, you know already the proportions when you were practicing the previous videos. So it's easier for you to kind of pre-estimate a little bit this object. So let's go first again in two vanishing, and after we're going to switch to three vanishing point, the same object. So for example, I do again, we might do even less the lines if you do just three, and over there like this, and also kind of three, not too many. So we have approximately the two vanishing point space here. So let's start. Well, we're gonna first use as it is, and after we're gonna imagine the other thing, the other form. So I can start even somewhere there, you see. Okay, let's say this is gonna be my beginning. So the base, as I go with the conversion line, I can make it somewhere here. Yeah, you see the base. And now the top, for example, I'm gonna use kind of this line, you see, I am converging. So both of those lines, they converge, one that way and another converge to that vanishing point. And now from here, if I go kind of in a relatively straight line to the right, yeah, converging to the right of this way, yeah. And of course the other will be a little bit lower. So I just kind of, if I'm going to use this, you see, I choose a little bit stronger perspective this time, convergence. So what we need to have here, of course, approximately square. So approximately square is going to be something like this. If you want to verify, you just kind of cut it half here, cut it half up. Oh, sorry, cut it half somewhere here. Yeah, and you have, if you have four squares, that's the right thing. If you don't have four squares, you have to adjust a little bit this side over here, either a little bit, coming this way or that way, yeah, one or the other. You need to have kind of square here in between. So let's go on the top. So this, if you kind of converge, you're going to go that way, yeah. Normally you would go this way, yeah, to the converging points. And because the perspective is much more I'm sorry, stronger than the previous ones, so if you want to make sure, of course, intuitively I can establish that the other will be somewhere here, but I want to make sure. So if I go this kind of connect the corners less or more, I have this, and I go with this kind of lines over there. I have this point over here. So now from this point, if I go through this in straight line, you see, is almost perfect. So now I go to the convergence to the left, yeah, to the left, and it needs to be, really converging to the left, yeah. Okay, so you're gonna have something like, oops, something like that. So I have the main block of the structure. Now I know that over here what I have, look, this space is the same over there, and in between you have two the same spaces. So what is said to me is that if I do this way, and let's say half there, so I have the square, and I do one here and one do approximately there. So now if I have the major coming this way, minor is perpendicular, so I have my ellipse over there have to go approximately a little bit much more that way, yeah, the base of this cylinder. And now I have addition of this part, and I know that it starts from half of the square, yeah, because as you know, it's kind of like square what you will attach to it. And you can, of course, continue with this convergence going to this side of this object, yeah, a little bit in perspective. And how far it goes to squares, yeah, 1, 2, somewhere until here it goes. So from here, of course, you connect this and you have the upper part of it, yeah. Okay, so you're gonna have something around this line here. So now you have to just add what? The cylinder. And the cylinder, you see, as you can see here, it's kind of like one in cube is this, a little bit longer. So for example, so if I go, I'm going to take the convergences approximately like this. And then if I go here with the perspective, kind of a little bit more, because I need to have stronger convergence, yeah, because that's going this way, you see, so I have to kind of follow the convergences in there. I have one another here. So this cubic part is going to be approximately like in the square, this part, and I add a little bit, yeah, and I add a little bit. So now I'm going to kind of get this, you know, the front of this cylinder, of course, with the same angle, but this kind of ellipse, yes. So if I just kind of adjust this forms a little bit nicer here and there, a little bit stronger lines, of course, here and there, yeah, and a little bit here, and a little bit this, and a little bit this. So I actually drew this form, you know, as it really is, yeah. And of course, I did it in two vanishing point perspective with kind of stronger convergences. So if you kind of now erase what you don't need and what you don't see, because the cylinder is going to cover certain parts, yeah, you don't going to see these things, okay, it's going to be kind of behind. So we have approximately that. And you have this form over here, yeah, normally. So, of course, you can kind of clean this form a little bit more, whatever, as I showed you in the first video when you stamp the pencil from the, you know, from the surface. So that's approximately, for example, this kind of form. So we try to draw this first a little bit briefly. Now maybe first I'm going to do another one using three vanishing point perspective. How it's going to look in three vanishing point perspective. So let's go. I'm just going to make this a little bit smaller and go down. Yeah, make you the space here. So we're going to see this, but it's not going to kind of bother us too much. So let's say somewhere here. And now, of course, the same form, yeah, I will try to do in three vanishing point perspective. What's going to happen here? Actually, I'm going to first show you here. We can actually do something different in order to draw second time. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this. And of course, I'm going to move it a little bit up over here. Yeah. And now I'm going to draw this in three vanishing point perspective now. So I'm going to add another layer over here. So there will be some changes now. And it all depends when I'm going to put this at third vanishing point. So let me just maybe make this a little bit lighter like that, this layer. Yeah, and I'm going to choose another color of blue, for example, for change, because we're drawing it three vanishing point perspective. So look, in the convergence to the right here and to the left here, they do not change. They stay as they are. The only thing going to change is the verticals, because in three vanishing point perspective, you have verticals going this way, horizontal going that way, and another set of horizontal going to the left. So you have this kind of grid, you see, okay? So, and you can choose the third vanishing point either beginning from this corner, and then you're going to have very squeezed these parts. But in order to kind of balance between both, you better go with the vertical over there and try to kind of apply, you know, convergence to the ground third vanishing point somewhere lower down under your table. If the object is on the table, you have, let's say, this kind of convergences to the third vanishing point. So let's now modify this form. Now we have two options. Either you leave the base as it is and you modify the vertical going that way, or you prefer to leave the top as it is. In this case, you would have to modify the base form in three vanishing point. Yes. So this is whatever you prefer. Most of the time, if you have a plan, created plan for this object, let's say floor plan, so you is better raising from the lower part up. Yes. So the lower part stays as is on the measurements on the plan. A plan is what? Just in case some of you might not know, let's say you have the drawing of this figure on the plan, yeah, floor plan. So you have one, you have another square is there, yeah, and you have now this part attached. This is the top view, yeah, top view, okay, floor plan, and you have approximately here this part, and you have here what? You have here the cylinder, which is going to be approximately 1 square and little somewhere there, yeah, something like this. So this is top view of this form on the plan, and normally plans we do in some kind of, you know, scale. But we're going to take I'm going to eventually talk about this in one of the videos, but for now it's just kind of small explanation what plan is. So I mean floor plan or top view, whatever. So so we have the third vanishing point. So let's just adjust the forms of it. So look, what I'm going to do now, for example, you leave the base as it is, so you're just kind of going to go that way. And now here is almost as the convergence lines. Yeah, going to go. Do not exaggerate with the third vanishing point. Don't make kind of very crazy kind of convergences, because they are not really nice to look at. And now you see, yeah, you have that. Now you see here is almost vertical, but here starts a little bit converging to the third vanishing point there, and this part you see is converging that way, isn't it? The verticals only converge to third vanishing point, and the horizontals, they go into vanishing point as they were. So that's not really any challenge there. Yeah, in this case you have the same convergences, nothing changing here. Yeah, only the verticals gonna be different, and at the same time the dynamic of this entire form going to be also different. And in this case, of course, now you have the ellipse is not going to change much here. Yeah, not going to change much here. Over here it's going to be a little change, because you're going to have to kind of, you see the vertical now through this ellipse goes a little bit this way. So slightly the ellipse going to have a little bit kind of, you have to turn it a little bit. So this part of the cylinder, because those parts are parallel, if you look at on the side, so if you look in the perspective, this is going to be a little bit that way, you see, because the verticals to the third vanishing point perspective going to change a little bit. So that's the same. Sorry, the toujours always the major is the same and the perpendicular is the same. It's just that you have to cut a little bit. This piece is going to be a little bit extended because of the vertical. So so it's going to be something around those lines as I drew here. Oh, just a second. Yeah, so we just kind of make it a little bit. Oh, sorry. Let's get back. Okay, so you have approximately something of this kind, you know, in the third vanishing point. Okay, so if you would like to, for example, do this, for example, nicer, so I would now put this one over here. I would completely close. this one. Oops, just a second. I'm gonna go there and there. I forgot to do these lines. So let's just kind of finish this a little bit here and there. It's gonna go because that's not changing, yeah? That's not changing. So, and if you, now let's go a little bit and do the black and lines for both of these figures, yeah? So I'm gonna just kind of make it lighter this part, and of course I'm gonna make a little bit lighter this part, and I'm gonna do now in dark both of these figures. So let's go. I'm gonna put the black here, for example, this time a little bit, okay, a little bit black, and let's go, to draw this. So first, I go from the top. I'm gonna do with this kind of form, yeah, 3 vanishing points. So I just go there. I just go there approximately, put the verticals to the third vanishing point. This is not changing at all, and that is not changing at all over here, yeah. That this part over here and there, and of course the base of the form over here, yeah. So kind of you go this way, for example, and you have you go that way, and you go that way, yes, and you go of course with one stroke or so to there, and another stroke, let's say, go less or more to there, yeah, over here. And now what you do, of course, with this, you just kind of add a bit, kind of, a little bit angular over here, yeah, the front of this cylinder. So kind of try to catch it, in one gesture, line the object, yeah, over here, and of course over there. And again, let's go now with this one over here. This is only two vanishing points, so vertical is a vertical, yeah, everything is much more static. So you see the dynamic between one form and another is completely different. And that's why sometimes, especially in design, we do less this in interior design, but in, for example, industrial design, we like to use the third vanishing point, or in kind of architecture for video games or cinema industry. The third vanishing point is something which is used because you can create much more dramatic, environments, yeah, and much more kind of dynamic at the same time. So dramatic and dynamic at the same time environments, and in those industries. So because that's something to lead after the cameraman, how you should, you know, um, um, lead the camera, and make the pictures and everything. So that's always instruction in storyboarding and so on. But anyway, but in design, most of the time, the third vanishing point is not helping much, and it doesn't. It's not really kind of. It's only one way. When I'm going to show you, when we're going to start drawing really the spaces, that is very useful if you want to really inform your client about, for example, exactly how the space going to be going to look and everything. So look, I'm going to close those, and I have this kind of forms, yes. So of course, you can adjust them a little bit. Yeah, you can make a little bit the lines a little bit nicer and so on. Yeah, I just did it this kind of much more faster, because it's all about explanation, not really. I am not trying to have perfect drawings, just kind of explain you how to draw, and using the geometric forms, how you can actually practice with them, your knowledge of perspective, yeah, or just simply simple practice for yourself. Even if you draw, perspective very well, but drawing this kind of forms will just help you to be even better than you are. So of course, here and there, yeah. So if I would change, probably I'm going to change the brush to do a little bit different shadows, a little bit, and just kind of brief shadows in there. Yeah, just kind of brief shading here and there. On the base, I'm going to put a little bit darker here in the. Oops, sorry. It's a bad thing about this program that is doing things. Yeah, something like that. Okay. it's fine. So let's just kind of go there and go there. And now, of course, if I take, I'm going to take myself this kind of brush and try to do a bit change the shading application. So look, you can do, of course, this is all in shadow, yeah. So you just kind of go and make it a little bit in shadow, this entire area here, yeah. You kind of go a little bit and do kind of shading a little bit, much more softer, you know, with the smudging, as I was showing you. So also here, yeah. So that's going to be darker and lighter down there. So we're going to have this kind of shading here. Of course, the same happens here, yeah. You just go kind of darker and lighter on the base, yeah, lighter of the base. And you're going to have somewhere there, of course, going to be what? The core shadow. So just kind of disperse a little bit here and disperse a little bit to the lower part. You have approximately that. When you might have it there, you might have another kind of shadow projected there. Yeah. Over here, you might have a little bit something visible. And then after the light penetrates, of course, this other part is in shadow. And this part over there, you can gently kind of go and little bit dispersed to get kind of much more dimensionality to this object, yes. Of course, we can always take eraser after, yeah, and just kind of with the eraser kind of make it nicer, even do some kind of, you see, leave a little bit some spaces here and there, and maybe here even add a little bit kind of little bit effects here and there on the base or something, over there. Can do some kind of other things here and there, yeah. And you can do this either on the paper, on the digital surface, whatever is the case. This question of exploration with the paper stack, you can actually add really nice smudging, on the base, yeah, of the figures there. So that's, for example, I would kind of make it a little bit this way, and let's say you might have some kind of, shading here visible, on the ground over there, yeah. So just kind of briefly doing this, not really taking even care to do this kind of stuff. It's much more dynamic, and the same you can do here, yeah. So let's say you have kind of darker, and after it goes kind of lighter, yeah, you can make this kind of, you see, a little bit strokes, a little bit that way, but you always emphasize a little bit from the direction of the light. And also here as well, you just kind of do kind of shading here and there, yeah, and there, okay. And also here and there, of course, a little bit, and here a little bit, yeah. And under this and over here, you're going to have a little bit darker because it's going to be shadow. And of course, over there, it's going to be all in shadow there. And here, we're going to have the core shadow a little bit on the lower part, and just have to disperse. And on the ground, of course, you might have a little bit the shading much more stronger, and after going to kind of be dispersing, yeah. And of course, here, you're going to have a little bit this kind of, angle because of the triangle. So we're going to have this kind of projection of this. And here we're going to have that, of course. And here we're going to have a little bit this, the kind of cylinder visible as a shadow, yeah. So if you work them nicely, it's going to be kind of something less or more resembling this kind of, form also on the base. So this is, of course, not perfect shadowing. It's not about this. It's about drawing in perspective. But if you can, on this kind of object, you can also practice your way of shadow applications. And because you need to have a rounded this space, you have to create kind of core shadow there, yeah. And also over here, core shadow and core light. That's how operate the shadows. Okay, so of course, you can get back to my videos on YouTube to know exactly what it is, core shadow, core light. But I did already those videos. So in order to kind of understand what I am talking sometimes about, you just kind of have to view these videos in order to get, the information there. But shortly, core of the shadow is the darker part. And the lighter over here, for example, is the core of light. So that's basically what we operate with kind of as, informations regarding, the shadows application. That's how we name it, yeah. So core of light, core of shadow, that's something which is kind of very, useful, to operate. So everybody understand what to do if you explain someone, put a little bit much more core shadow here and there and core of light over there. So everybody going to understand a little bit what to do. Anyway, that's brief. So now, before we finish, we're just briefly going to Presketch, now this in different position, yeah? Because so far we did 2 and 3 vanishing point, but I would like to now imagine this completely differently, not as it is, but I would kind of imagine similarly maybe or something around the lines like the previous one. So I don't going to draw 2 of them. I'm going to draw this in 3 vanishing point perspective. So for example, I'm going to use the grid. Which kind of grid? Well, this one, for example, I'm going to draw, because I draw in 3 vanishing point perspective, I'm going to use the blue kind of line. So look, I do first that, yeah, 3 lines converging to the right, a little bit better. Let's say they go that way, yeah? You see, they kind of regularly converge to the right. And similar, I'm going to do converging to the left over there. And on top of it, I am going to, let's say this is going to be my middle, and from the middle I'm going to do also vertical convergence to the third vanishing point, which is somewhere below the ground, yeah, or it depends where the object is. It is on the table, so it's deep under the floor, the third vanishing point. And now I can go. So we know that we have here what? 2 squares, 2 squares. So let's start from there. So for example, if I choose the base over here, yeah, so I go up there because this is a 3 vanishing point perspective I want to do. So just go there, use this kind of conversion line, and a little bit straighter conversions over there, yeah. And now what I need? 4 squares. So I have 1 over there. And if you want to do it perfectly, you do what I just explained it to you in previous videos. But I'm gonna kind of, simulate here less or more the squares. So you see 1 after gonna go that way, yeah? So I have the convergences. I try to follow, you see, convergence here, and after it's raising, gonna go this way, yeah? The horizontal line is somewhere around this line, yeah? Something like this. And so I have this side, yeah? Let's say I have this side of the object, yeah? So it's there. And now, of course, I go with this convergences. So this convergences, this convergence in order to keep with this kind of angle. So I'm gonna go a little bit kind of that way. So, sorry, the horizontal line is a little bit lower here, yeah? Because that's going to be, this is a little bit going down. And here also going to go a little bit down in order to keep up with the conversions I already started on the base. So now, over here, we need to have what? That's the base, yeah? That's the base. And that's the top. It's slightly kind of, and so because my horizontal line is somewhere there, so it's slightly going down. So now I need what? 2 squares, yeah? 1 and another square here. So let's go 2 squares. So you know that this is approximately the measurement between the 2 squares, yes? So now we try to kind of get the form, using the vertical, for example. I try to kind of get the form approximately 2 squares. So it's something not going, because it's the vertical there. So, okay. This is too tight, so I'm going to change a little bit. You see, I'm going to a little bit change the conversions to the third vanishing point, not as strong. Yeah, here I'm going to keep it, but a little bit adjust the vertical convergences here. So now you see, I have much more kind of square surfaces there, yeah, less or more. So always in 3 vanishing point perspective, if you exaggerate a little bit with the vertical, the third vanishing point, you might have kind of the deformated forms. So you have to kind of swim between them in order to get these forms much more looking as squarish ones. But sometimes, in some cases, even when you do whatever, they're going to be kind of losing a little bit the squareness, and they're going to become much more rectangularish or something. But anyway, that's the form. Now we know that what? If this is on the base, so on the base here, what I have this cylinder, yeah, coming out. So let's do it. If I would like to look like true, yeah, transparently to this form, I'm going to have this kind of approximately, you see, from there. If this is the half of it, so if I go there, you see, I have this part visible that way, yeah? So now, here, major in the middle, yeah? Major is converging to the left, so it's going this way, and perpendicular to it, I have that. So I know the base for it is approximately, you see, this kind of form of the cylinder there, yeah? So just something around this line. And I know that this is what approximately 1 square and so if I just now go with the lines going approximately this side of this cylinder going this way, and this going to go approximately as the perspective goes that way, yeah? So the square I have approximately there, but I have to a little bit squeeze this ellipse. Why? Because I have from the edge, I have little angle of the verticals, yeah? So I have vertical, 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 and again, and then. So that's something you have to, you know, once we establish approximately this, you have to little bit push it, the upper part a little bit to the left, because you need to have what? The front of the ellipse going kind of in three vanishing point, yes? So that's approximately, I'm sorry, it. And now from the half space here, yeah, if you go, you have another form. So, and in this kind of perspective, you're going to see only that part. You don't going to see the top, yeah, and because the top is taken off, yeah, the top going to go normally with the top. You're going to go that way. You see over there, yeah. Because this was the side of it, but the top of the scattered part is raising there, so it's going down there. But the side here is, you see, following convergence to the left. So you have to raise this like that, yeah, like this, and you're gonna see only this part. So in this kind of, you see, in this kind of three vanishing point perspective, that's how the form going to look. So I'm gonna kind of just put it lighter, and if I draw this now nicer with black, for example, or any other bluish kind of Prussian blue. So now the front, of course, is here, yeah. So the front is here. Look, the entire front of this form. I'm gonna make this drawing just a second, a bit smaller, so it's much more easier with the straight lines like that, yeah. So now I go there, and I just kind of try to draw this. So let's say that is almost perfect. Something like this, something like that, and now you have this part, and from there it's going to have the lower part, yeah, and you have what? The part, because normally it would go, you see that, sorry, it would go this way and that way, yeah, and two squares, somewhere there is going to be finished, this part, if there would be this kind of form, yeah. So you would have this, sorry, going as the perspective goes, that way, and from here this way and this way, yeah. So as the perspective goes, but because you cut this part, so what you left with is just the triangle, and because from the position you're looking at the triangle, you see, you can see this inside, this is the end of it. So the inside form of the triangle would be, you see, transparently, if you would look, so you will see inside of this triangle approximately this way. So that forms an inside, like it would be transparent. So you'd see the same here, there, and from there, this part, yes? So, but we don't see it. So I'm gonna just leave it this, I'm gonna erase, for example, because that's it. Nothing is there, okay? Because we subtracted the half of the prism, and we continue with the body down, going. Oops, sorry, a bit better. Kind of going kind of straight down. Okay, a little bit here, and this is the, let's say, the base, yeah. And over here we have that. less or more. And of course, we can indicate that there's division between, they have two blocks, yeah, two kind of blocks, yeah, so you can kind of indicate this division of the form. And of course, we have this cylinder now, yeah, so the cylinder from here is like this, and here is a little bit in the angle, this ellipse, because that's what happens with the verticals, and you go there with the lower part and with the upper part, yeah. So actually you did the object, you draw the object as it is, yeah. So it's a little bit kind of really in space, you know. So well, if there's any shades, so you just kind of put some shade here, some shade of course over there, and so on, and you're going to have some kind of core shadow. So this time from such view, you might have one core shadow you might have over there and disperse, and another somewhere, let's say there, and disperse. So some part might be enlightened there, yeah. And of course here you're going to have these shades, yeah. That's it. So you have a little bit something here to just kind of make it the spatial form a little bit kind of, you know, nicer. So basically what would happen, you would have this kind of form in vanishing form, in vanishing point. But you can also imagine this, of course, in different way. And for example, if I would take again, let's say I'm going to take maybe a blue, and this drawing I'm going to take a little bit smaller, yeah, move it a little bit down, a little bit smaller somewhere there, okay. So now we can imagine, of course, this object, of course, yet differently, yeah. You might put upside down the form, and you might see actually you can draw this in vanishing point, but rather a little bit kind of like from the top, really from the top, like you would fly. Because here you kind of, your horizontal line is somewhere there, but let's see the horizontal line on the top. So in this case, you will go this way and that way and that way. And of course, you have the third vanishing point grid also here. And you will see a little bit from the top, and we'll take it differently. This is going to be on the base, but it's going to be from the other side. So for example, if you choose, I'm sorry, if you choose to draw this kind of front, yeah, in vanishing point going this way, for example, yeah, a little bit nicer, oops, like this way. So what you need, 3 squares approximately, 1, then it's going to be approximately, let's say, somewhere there, 2, and 3, and 4, somewhere there, yeah. So let's say we have this kind of form, okay. You can do vertical, horizontal, whatever, in vanishing point as well, but the vertical is much more interesting, is much more kind of, you know, stronger and deeper and so on. So you just cannot go with these convergences correctly. Just a second. Yeah, if I go to which one, oops, too much. If I go a little bit kind of that way, and a little bit kind of that way, and a little bit kind of that way, yeah? Okay, so now I need squares, 2 squares. So let's say if I go there, and go there, a little bit larger, yeah, somewhere there, less or more. If I continue, I would have kind of two squares less or more, and here of course goes this way, yeah, and here goes this way. So now I'm going to imagine that I see this from that way. So what's going to happen, I'm going to have the lower part of the triangle, yeah, the lower part of the triangle going this way, and also going to be there going that way, you see. And from here you have, of course, with this convergence, you go with the base, you're going to go like this, yeah, over there. And here normally you would have what? 1 square, yeah, 1 square. So that is going to be that vanishing point. And you here, normally if there would be square, you will see a little bit this side, you see. But because you have to extract half of it, yeah, oops, sorry, that was okay. Yeah, I need to extract half of it, cut it off, yeah. I'm cutting off, yeah, because I'm drawing, you see, I'm cutting off, yeah, okay. Because this is now, you see, I turn it that way, yeah. So now this part is lower, you see, is kind of going from the lower part, and I see this from this side, you see, from that side. you just turn it up vertically, and you see now from that side. So that's what I am drawing here, actually. So you have to also, what is good, to imagine also, you see, you learn to imagine the forms. So now over here, I'm gonna have, if I go this way, yeah, no, just a second. If I go that way, okay, so it goes completely different. Sorry, it goes this way. You see, you cut, but that way, okay? You cut that way, okay? So what you have it here, in half, you have the top of it, yeah? So that's what you're gonna see. See, trick, yeah? Trick. So you can do one or the other way, but this is actually what is going to be if you turn the way I was explaining. So you're going to have something like this. So that's what is very kind of interesting, that you kind of try to imagine really what's going to happen when you turn this way or the other one. Okay, imagination, because if you have this object, for example, yeah, if you have this object, so you see when you're going to turn this, you see how it looks from observation. If you prepare yourself this kind of form, drawing from the top, from this angle, from that angle, warm view. From now we draw everything from the bird view, because those are much kind of common views of the tree vanishing point perspective. But we're also going to do another, the kind of warm kind of view. So you see, you have actually you drew this, in that direction. And you have what you have here. You have, of course, major, minor. You have the cylinder there, yeah, and it's going to go, the side of the cylinder going to go this way, and it's going to go this way, yeah. So you see, one square is going to be somewhere there, but you need to vertical change a little bit there. So this ellipse going to be a little bit going that way, you see. So we have different ellipse on the base and different on the front because of the third vanishing point. So of course there, if you put a little bit shading here and there to just kind of situate yourself where you are, yeah, and have kind of, and a little bit here, yeah, so just kind of a little bit over there, add a little bit shading, always here and there, you're going to have better results. Very kind of visual impressions, yeah. You do a little bit core shadow here and there, and you actually do it. Of course, there might be some kind of shadow projecting on the lower part, and also maybe something a little bit on this part, but that's basically what you're going to get, yeah. And of course over there, this shadow go from the cylinder. So the same view would be in the warm view, would go rather this way, yeah. So you'll have like something around those lines, yeah, and you will go with this part over there, you'll go this part over there. So, and just briefly drawing, you will have what divisions. You have 4 squares approximately here, you have 2 squares over there. So now you know that the ellipse is going, you see, that way, and it's going that way. And of course, because of the angle, this time it's going to be that way, yeah. And this part is kind of extended there, and you have what? You have the triangular cut. So from here, from this convergences here, yeah, you will have the other part a little bit this way. So basically, that's how you're going to see this side, how you're going to see this side, and you're going to have the core shadow there, for example, yeah. You're going to have the cylinder, and you're going to have, of course, the form from the warm view, so from very low space. So for example, the worm is here, yeah, and is looking there, okay, the worm, okay. And this is bird, yeah, it's bird kind of flying over there, and you have kind of fingers, this, and you have kind of bird flying, and he's looking on the top of these objects. That's how we're going to draw the buildings, of course, and when we're going to start drawing them much more nicely. So practice this kind of forms, and that will be all for that will be going to be all for today. So today we just kind of mix 2 with 3, and we did kind of different objects within this perspective. Okay, so thank you very much. I'm seeing you next time for another practice of the vanishing point perspective this time. Bye bye.